All right, welcome to the Way Forward podcast, where we talk about the transition into the AI age. My name is Dennis, and I run consulting businesses to help small companies, small businesses integrate data sovereignty, simple automations, and eventually AI into their systems. Michael?
Hey, my name is Michael, and I would classify myself or call myself an enthusiast, an AI accelerationist, whichever way you want to put it. I'm just somebody that genuinely believes in the technology, genuinely believes in, a future whereby we are, moving the world forward in multiple ways with great technology. We're living longer, we're happier, and I am very optimistic about the future of technology, and I like talking about it. So that's what I do on this podcast.
Max?
Hello, my name is Max. I am in cybersecurity. Um, the latest news from the World Cybersecurity Coalition is that we are all fucked. Back to you, Dennis.
And now, Dennis with the weather. Okay, yeah. So, and we want to hit on. So today we got some a business topic. I guess I'll just launch into the business topic about the way I'm using AI in my business. So I own three cleaning businesses across three different states, and I use remote operators to run the business. Most of the time, I'm not working in the business. I'm working on the business, and so a lot of my bandwidth is spent making sure the systems are running the way they're supposed to be run. And so what does that mean? That means, like, are people following the script when they give a quote call? Are they doing the follow-ups on time? So how I started building the Way Forward as a consulting business was I built all these systems for my cleaning businesses first. And so this past week, I have a new VA, and she's on for 6 weeks. So, and we're kind of getting to the transition point where it's worked out, and so now we're talking about long-term stages and things like that. And so I went and I had my AI system go through all of her, I think, 133 calls that she's had over the past 6 weeks of inbound lead calls, and run them through against my grade through my grading workflow against my rubric, and to kind of tell me, one, what's her conversion rate. I mean, that was obvious. I knew what that was already. So it's 37%, and my company minimum is 40. So that's all right. She's close. But then my ops manager, she converts at 57%. And so I was able to, previously I sent 100 or 150 of her calls through the workflow, and then use those transcripts and grading to build a playbook of what she does well. And so now I have this standard of, hey, this is what it takes to book at 57%. And so I sent 133 calls of the new VA's calls through that workflow, and I was able to come up with two patterns that are pretty manageable. And it was able to identify them across all the calls. So the first one is that she doesn't connect. She doesn't have like a human to human moment when somebody tells her some bad news or something. She doesn't have a human to human moment to empathize, which is really just a form of saying, that sucks. I'm sorry you're going through that, you know? And so she missed that. Like, literally, she's only doing that on 17% of the calls. Whereas, like, Nikki would do it on, or my ops manager would do it on 50 or like 73% of the calls. And the second thing is, like, we kind of have our formula is, hey, this is our normal price, and it's, $500 for a cleaning, but this month we're running a Father's Day special, so I can get that done for just $450. And the new VA was doing that 20% of the time, whereas the ops manager does it 85% of the time. So I was able to use this intelligence to run through it, and it cost, maybe $25 to run everything through an API, but I was able to come up with these two very coachable, very clear metrics of, this is what you need to do to increase your conversion rate. I gave the feedback to her today, and I'll check in 2 weeks and see how it is.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, so I did have maybe some follow-ups of questions, whichever way you want to take it. But like, I mean, did you run this through like the Kimi model? Was it the Kimi model that gave you
Yeah.
this? Feedback. All right, cool.
Yeah, so for my N8 and for my cleaning company, the back end is it was before I was doing really much with AI, so it's all built on most of it by hand through N8N, and so it was just a matter of Claude was too expensive. I mean, I was getting charges before I switched. I was getting charges every day and a half for $10 for API credits. Meanwhile, I've got a $200 subscription. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
So I switched to Kimi 2.6. So this is Kimi 2.6. Yes.
Okay, cool. And what this traffic, was it mainly coming from like, obviously it's coming from Google, but was it coming from your like cold ads, people that just saw your like your number on like through Google search, organics, SEO? Like, how were you generating this traffic for the calls that were coming in?
80% is Google LSA, local service ads.
Okay.
Those are pretty. Those are high converting leads. Those are about the warmest you're going to get from paid traffic, as far as I know. Even Google PPC is not as warm. Meta ads are even colder. And so
I
as
guess,
the temperature goes down, the conversion rate goes down.
all right, cool. I guess LSA means local search ads.
Service ads. So it's yeah, there's two, maybe there's more, but there's at least two platforms in Google, and they're different. So if you search house cleaner near me, usually if there's a Google guaranteed badge, that's a local service ads, and it's usually the top spot. And then pay per click ads are elsewhere on the page.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That was like the main question. Do you think you'd have gotten a significant like improvement in the quality of like, or the quality of the output that the AI gave you if you used like a Fable type model instead of like a Kimi model? Like, do you think it would have given you like an insight that was probably like 2 to 3 times better, or it'll be almost negligible?
My gut tells me it'd be almost negligible. I think it might have missed something. I'm not sure. Kimi 2.6 it's pretty. I mean, it works really well. It's pretty smart, and so far it seems accurate to me. And I say that because I ran the on the back end it's Kimi 2.6 running the plumbing back there. But when I was doing it yesterday, I was working through Claude Code. So I was having Claude Code actually like verify the findings that Kimi 2.6 made. And so I was able to confirm what it was, if it was or it wasn't. But I think that's this thing too, is like, a lot of times the intelligence, maybe one of the arts of this whole thing, whatever this whole AI thing is picking the dumbest model possible for the job rather than the smartest model possible for the job, right? Like there's still some proper good use cases for Claude's haiku. And it's just a matter of matching the use case with the right model. Because what I was looking for is basically recognition that a human being said something emotionally vulnerable, which is pretty easy, right? Like, oh, I just got to the hospital, my dog died, whatever it is, and then being able to check the response to that and recognize if it was related to that or not.
Makes sense.
Okay, so I got a question then. How do we distinguish that emotional tone? How do we read the room so instantly that she knows which way to go, even if it's a double branch this way or branch this way?
And so by she, you mean the AI model?
The model,
You mean the AI
yeah,
model? Yeah.
Or the software program you're building, whatever.
Right. It's not tone is not the right word because tone's vocal.
No.
You have to hear tone.
Yeah, so that's part of it, but
Right.
it's not
So,
all of it.
so the transcript is just the words. And so yes, things are getting missed. So it's looking for clues in the text that reveal something negative happened.
Right.
It's not perfect, obviously. Somebody can say
No, but
somebody like my go ahead.
It's a little inference application where the inference model needs to figure out whether this is a positive or negative thing,
Yeah.
and then and how positive or negative, and then how to respond to it on some kind of a gradient scale. That's a really
Yeah.
hard programming task.
Yeah. And I mean, it's this example, right? Like you can, if my VA says, "Oh, how was the cleaning?" and somebody can say, "Oh, it was amazing," right? And we can hear the
Hmm.
tone and know that they don't actually mean amazing. And
Well,
that
what
kind
about sarcasm then? Oh my God,
right,
then you got to
right.
be
So that's
right.
that's missed.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
missed unless unless the AI starts looking at chunks of communication because the back and forth would reveal it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
You
that's
know what I
right.
mean?
The context, you give it more context, and it might be able to pick it up.
Yeah, so one line is going to tell you some things, obviously. Oh, yeah, my mom just got out of the hospital. Whereas there's deeper stuff that might be revealed through looking at more of the context.
Or is there another question that you could ask that's neutral to get more information? And then you get a real explanation of what's going on. Like, please tell me more.
Hmm.
Right? That's a neutral that can apply to any situation. And
Right.
then that'll get more information out of the client or the user.
Yeah. I got this is not about AI, but my operators, they're all trained on the book Never Split the Difference. And if you've
Oh
heard of this
yeah,
book,
yeah,
I recommend it to everybody. But those tactics and stuff for getting people to talk, they work really, really well.
yeah, yeah. And again, this goes back to just asking the right questions. That's where
Hmm.
the gold is a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys I don't really follow him anymore, but for a while I had a Tony Robbins moment in my life where everything
Oh
was
yeah,
great. And just
Tony,
downloaded Tony
Tony.
Robbins. Yeah, and what did he would say like the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions, and
Yeah,
that's stuck with me. Somebody can say, "Why is this always happening to me?" And your brain's going to give an answer to that. It's
yeah.
so because X, Y, or Z, versus like how do I get a better outcome? Is you ask your brain that and you're going to get a different get a different answer. The same applies to an AI.
Yeah. One of the topics I want to talk about was discriminant and indiscriminate software. Okay,
Okay,
what's
can
the
you
difference between the
describe?
two?
Yeah, can you describe those?
Yeah. What discriminant software is every time you run that software, you get the same answer. You put this input in, you're going to get that some input out that the program has transformed it, but it will be repeatable again and again and again, 1,000 times, a million times into the future. That is discriminant software. Now, we're now in the world of indiscriminate software because we are using these large language models, which work on inference, right? They infer things by looking at other things, right? So when you give it input, you no longer get the same output. So that is the difference between discriminant and indiscriminate, right?
Okay.
Now, in the past, if we wanted to get a indiscriminate output, we had to put a random generator into the code, right? Because that random generator would create the different output each time,
Yeah.
right? So now that only applies to mathematics. Coding and mathematics, you can get indiscriminate results. However, you can't get indiscriminate results with, what is it? Okay, you can trick people. This is what I've been doing with modeling. It's called seeded discriminant. Okay, so it appears to the user that it is indiscriminate, meaning you've asked the same question 4 times in a row and it's giving you a different answer each time. It
Okay.
feels like it.
So you ask the same question and you get a different answer, and it seems like it's indiscriminate.
Right. But what it's
Got it.
actually doing is a random generator going through a set number of responses, and those are seeded. So
Yes. 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 Yes.
as
Yes.
a programmer, you can run the routine through all of those responses to get all the outputs, theoretically. So it's not indiscriminate, but it appears indiscriminate to the user.
Right, because there's so many different pathways that are already preceded that are
Right.
determined on
Right.
on their own, but each one user is not going to see all of them or most of them.
Yeah. And so when we're building software, we have to remember, do we want indiscriminate output or do we want discriminate output? If you're building software for a bank app, which do you want?
Discriminant.
Discriminant every damn time. You do not want indiscriminate software anywhere near it, right? So you have to know when to apply either discriminant or indiscriminate, or what I've been doing is seeded discriminant to make it appear like it is, but yet I have control over it. Right, so that when I'm working with Miko so much, I've been working with that, and you were working with Bella as well, right? We're doing the back end work on these things. That's really an important concept people to understand.
Yeah, got it. And how is things going with Miko?
Good. You want to see a demo?
Absolutely.
Okay, can I share? There we go. All right, desktop. Share the sound. Yeah, I want that too. Stereo, sure. Video sharing. Yeah. So, this guy, I'm going to hide you. Where are you? Hide floating menu controls. All right, so this is Miko video that I sent you guys, right? You saw this one?
Welcome to the mobile lab. My name is Miko.
Yep.
Scan your code and we will get your project loaded.
Right, so that was just a text prompt that I used to create her, right? But that's kind of the persona that I want. So when people come in, they'll see that.
So it's almost like a Japanese anime style.
Right, and here's another one that I was working on too. So here is an art that I created, right?
Okay.
Right, so you can see that she's working here. This is the job I want her to do. She has to be in control of the entire makerspace, and I can tell her what to do, right? I'm the operator. The operator will be anybody, but I'll be in that truck, I'll be the operator of the makerspace. So I can tell her what to do. So here's a video of it. This is how I want her to perform.
Operator, all systems nominal.
Good, I'm seeing an anomaly on the extruder.
Confirm, calibrating now.
Run the diagnostic.
Operator, all systems nominal.
Good, I'm seeing an anomaly on the extruder.
Confirm, calibrating now.
Run the
Right, so that's the kind of behavior that I want her to be with the operator, okay?
Right. So there's commands that, and this is maybe not the same thing as seeded discriminant, but there's a set number of commands that are going to be recognized and defined before
that's possible. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so I guess on the infrastructure level, like what infrastructures are you using to like build this out? Because I'm thinking like you're probably using like a form of Grok. Is it Grok imaging that you use to generate the images and the videos?
Oh yeah, so these things I've done so far, these prototype images and stuff, I've been done with Grok. Yeah, Grok or yeah.
So what do you want the infrastructure to be to actually like build this out? Because if you want like, like I think the word you used was
deterministic or discriminatory,
yeah. So if you want deterministic software, like how do you actually build that out with like this? So for example, from getting from this prototype to actually like something that, let's say you can deploy on your server or you can deploy to like a website somewhere, like how do you build it out? What's going to be the underlying layer? Because like, if you're using a tool like Grok, then that's like, Grok's property and it lives, on their own thing. Like how do you then bring like their entire software and how do you make it into like your stuff?
Yeah, so I guess I'll show that too.
Yeah, so
I sent this last week, and it kind of gives you a overview of everything involved. So basically, you can see her kernel, right? This is the base program. And so that will be a Python system. I will not get into any kind of inference until I need to. I get to an LLM over here. And that will be Ollama locally, right? So she will actually she'll be able to run offline with Ollama as her inference model. But most of what she's going to be hard-coded locally on a NAS. Right. Yes. So right here locally, as close as possible. She's as quick, as lean as possible. And when she gets through all those questions that she doesn't have in her database, she doesn't know how to answer, then she might go. Or she's searching, then she'll go to an LLM up in the cloud somewhere, possibly. right, to get recent information. But for the most time, it should be running like 90% just Python hard code, right? No inference.
Yeah. Right.
Does that
You use it,
give you
you
an
use
idea?
the
Kind of
inference as little as possible.
as little as possible. That's right. Because anytime you're using you are discriminant. You are it's a free lunch, right? Like you're just getting a free lunch because it's fast, it's quick, and doesn't cost you anything, right?
Okay, so like, how do you then get like because on the text side with like the Python hard coded stuff,
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense on like text to even like voice output. But how do you get this, this text output that's coming out to be? I mean, you can obviously get like a local voice, text to speech stuff, but how did you get it to be synced to your avatar? That's to like actually enunciate it, because you're making like from what I see, you're making like a video image gen thing. So like you need like 3 layers, like one for the text and actual output, then another for like the text to speech, and then a third one to like actually sync the speech to your avatar that you've created, and actually have the avatar be able to do that.
That's the hard one locally.
Yeah, that's the hard one locally. But there are some. I've been looking into computer design and character design. So NPC character design. Don't know the ins and outs of it, but there's lots of models there already. You can get like base models, and there's software that will sync. Right, you can sync even your video live stream can be synced to animation. Right, that software is out there, so it's going to be something like that. I don't know what products. What I'm going to be trying doing is I'm going to be trying to build them from scratch. Like that's kind of part of this whole coding. An overlying foundational component is try to build it from scratch first. Open source, great, but never pay for stuff. It will be just a local build as tight as possible. So I might end up just copying an existing program or whatever they're doing.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, I have an idea for you for what you could use. It's called HeyGen. It's
HeyGen?
literally, HeyGen. It's HeyGen. They literally have some of the best industry class avatar to speech generation. They use it for all stuff from ads and everything. So what you could do is on your underlying layer, you could use like the Python hard coded stuff and have it connected to the LLM once in a while. But also for your text to speech, you can use whichever text to speech. Like Elon has Grok has a text to speech.
I've been using Whisper already. Whisper's set up now. Cool. My first prototype.
Yeah, you can also like almost too many text to speech, but you could get local ones too. I think Google also has local ones. And then you could use like a HeyGen, but that's obviously if you want to like use other people's software. But if you want to build it, like then that's good. I mean, I think that's going to be hard, but I think you should try it too.
Yeah.
I think you could do the same. I think that would be hard to like generated images with like in sync, but you could even do the seeded discriminant for a video response. Like the responses, a lot of our responses won't be. Let's say a lot of her responses will be canned. There'll be known outputs, and you could generate a video of that response and have those all loaded and ready to go locally.
I mean, fair. That's actually something, but it's like you have to think of all the possibilities, because it's like
or most of them. And
most of them.
And maybe she can look down sometimes, like, oh, she's working. Oh, I'll get back to you in a second. You can't see her lips, so you don't know that she's not synced.
Fair. You'd have like 100 of like possible outputs, and any of them that don't fit into any of those, then you have her look down. Oh, cool. That could work.
Yeah, that's cool. So I'm gonna tune. So anything else about that, Max?
Nope, that's the brief on Miko. Yeah,
I appreciate you telling us about that. It's a cool freaking project. And yes,
I know it's exciting, dude. I'm so excited. This whole legal thing I haven't been able to talk about, but now I can talk to you guys about a project that I'm working on, and I'm really excited about it too.
Awesome. Yeah, so I sent you all that picture of the school bus. I don't really know what it is, but I go to the BNI at that place and I walk by it, and it seemed like a similar, maybe not a makerspace, but kind of like a mobile tech education space.
Yeah, I think it cruises around and it gives kids a chance to play with a Raspberry Pi, and see how it
Yeah.
works, right? Just
Yeah.
expose it to them so then they can then get it on their own or they can find out more.
Yeah.
But it just exposes them to see, hey, this exists. You can play with these things and there'll be a big industry in the
Yeah.
future, you know?
Yeah. So, so what I'm going to do is, so Bella on voice agents, and I haven't done much with Bella in a long time, been a month, I guess. She's still live in the cleaning business. She still answers the phone when nobody else does, and that's going well as far as I can tell. You know, I don't have any complaints about it. So people are leaving messages and whatnot, and I'm taking notes.
Michael, oh, sorry. Are you not done yet? I'm sorry.
No. So my goal is to. So I'm not going to have any human being on the phone on Sundays, and it's just Bella. And it'll, for most of the time, it'll be the same, but I'm going to have her check in, like just add basically a loop or a branch, and just ask, is it an emergency? And that way I can, because for me as the business owner, like if nobody's on the phone, like how do I know that a cleaner is not just called out? Because you ask any cleaning business owner, like you don't know what to expect, except the unexpected. And so for me, like I want to have somebody on the phone so that I know, like, is this a big deal or not? And so I'm going to see about building that capacity into Bella, the tool to be able to figure out, does this need attention right now?
Hey, like a lot of times people will say, hey, I want to talk to a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the cue.
I mean, you could be like, sometimes, I mean, I haven't talked to a robot in a while, but sometimes I don't even want to talk to a robot. Like, it's not an emergency.
I know.
I just don't
right. You
want
want
to.
a person.
But I want, like, on Sundays, I don't want to be bothered unless it's actually an emergency.
Yeah.
So I'm going to build in that kind of, like, I guess it'll be like, because the way she is now, it's one orchestrator agent and then other sub agents that just do one thing really well, like get a quote or take a complaint or whatever. And there's just, I guess, building another one of those that's an emergency, and then try to triage that emergency.
Yeah. Okay. Michael, AI News, Dennis, AI News. Okay. So how does it feel, gentlemen, to be using a software? This entire podcast is about basically colored code we've been using. And the latest model has been banned by a country. The U.S. government has banned a model. How does that feel? I mean, you know you're on the cutting edge because any time in history, when new technology comes, the status quo is afraid of it. There are no exceptions, right? So you know we're on the cutting edge because they frickin' banned the software that we've been playing with, right? So how does that feel?
Yeah, it was just after our meeting last time that happened. Go ahead, Michael.
Well, to be fair, I won't say I was expecting it, but I was expecting for something like this to start happening when the models were getting like so good and they could be like so impactful. I just thought it was going to take another form. I was mainly thinking of it more so from the perspective of, like, I never thought, like, no regular people were always going to be able to have access to like frontier level models. It just felt like, it was too good to be true. Like we had a good thing going, but I thought it was going to be like, maybe we had like 2 more years where, like, people like us could at least enjoy, to be close to the frontier, maybe 6 months to,
How many hours did you guys get on the frontier? I got 2 hours on the frontier before it was banned. What about you guys?
I got like a couple of days, man. Because the day it came out, I started using it, and I'm so happy. I did a lot of stuff with like my marketing stuff, so I asked it to like go through all of my, because anytime a new model comes out, they always like tell it, okay, go through everything I was doing before, and like my marketing agency, tell me what I was doing wrong. So I literally did that, and I built like a new freaking funnel off of what it asked me to do. So I was just so happy because now anytime I go back into my Claude, I can actually like go and like read like all of the stuff. And obviously usually I don't even read all the stuff it just says. I'm just like, all right, everything you suggested, add it to my freaking like MD file so I can like, so you can like inform
context, future context.
Yeah. So I like literally, so now instead of like using like Opus 4.8, I'm just like literally going through and reading it myself with my eyes. I'm like, so that was smart, because I used to take for granted before, but I'm so happy I like created a whole bunch of, files and update files that I just added in, and yeah, that's what I'm reading. But I want to hear what, Dennis has to say.
I use it a couple days too. Like I turned it on, I left it running all night to a couple times to build a project. I don't know if I'm actually going to jump into it. There is the possibility that I could rebuild the software, my booking software for my cleaning business. Not rebuild it like copy it, but just make my own cleaning, my own booking software that's customized the way that I want it to work. Because the one that I have is really good. I like it. It's work, but it's 80%. There's 20% of things that would be real useful, like a heat map. When you're booking a job, it's a hassle to figure out, okay, when can I book it? Who's available when? And you have to click so many times through different people's profiles. So I had it build a booking software, but the prime purpose of it was that scheduling was a heat map. So I could look at a day of the week and know based on the heat map of how much availability I had in that. So I could do scheduling, basically like that. And it got through it. I mean, I don't know if it worked. I didn't ever use it live, but it was functional in terms of like with test data and things like that. A little ugly that it would need some iterations, but it seemed reasonable. But I think the second night, what I did is, and I've heard this since too, is that Fable's a great orchestrator, and that's like its purpose is to orchestrate and then define tasks so clearly that it can give it to Sonnet and run it. And Sonnet, it's almost like Sonnet can't make a mistake because the instruction is so well written.
Oh, that's another level. Oh yeah. Okay.
It could, yeah. But so let's talk about it being banned, because the question is, because we've on this podcast, we've said we're fucked. We've said like, but because I've heard, this is what I've heard. I read it on X. True, false. I'm not claiming this is a truth. I'm saying this is one version of a possible reality. Is that so? What is Fable? Fable is Mythos with guardrails, right? To keep it away from any sort of cybersecurity action. And I actually noticed that. I sent it to look for endpoints for a software that I use that are not public. Because you can find them and then you can kind of use them until they tell you not to or until they turn you off.
Yeah.
And as soon as I asked that, it switched to Opus 4.8. And so those are the guardrails, is that keep it away from cybersecurity. And so what I read from somebody on X, and it could be totally made up, is that Amazon, I think it was Amazon or a group inside of Amazon, was able to jailbreak it, was able to get Fable out of its guardrails. And then the US government pushed against Anthropic to fix it. And apparently, I mean, again, who knows? True, false, I don't know. But according to this source, Anthropic was kind of like, it's no big deal. And then that's when the US government says, exercise the right of export control and shut it down. Shut it down to anybody who is outside the United States.
And inside.
And foreigners inside. Anthropic chose to cut it off for everybody. The US government said you can't give it to foreigners.
That's what I read the first time, and I corrected myself because I thought that was the distinction. Because I thought I was telling people that, hey, my buddy Dennis has still got access to it, but you didn't, did you?
No, I mean everybody lost access. Anthropic cut off access. I mean, the US government made a move. And then Anthropic, I think what they said is that we don't see a realistic way to comply with that. Like, how do I know if a person from China inside the United States is using Fable or not? Like,
and apparently, freaking 30, I think it's 70% or 30%. I'm not sure, but like a huge percentage of Anthropic employees are not even like freaking US citizens. So like, how do you even enforce that even within your company to be like, the US government said non-citizens? It's like, dude, I work for Anthropic and I can even use the fucking models. Like, that's like fucking insane. But on this topic, one thing I would say is, for the most part, I think this is the beginning of something that it sounds sci-fi, but I really believe it to the core of my being. I think there's going to be classes of people based on like your access to intelligence, dude. It's going to be like, there's going to be like the frontier people and like the organizations that actually have the model and house the models. That's class A. Those are going to be like the people that are like on the frontier and like they actually have frontier models, and it's going to be them and the companies that are able to pay for like enterprise solutions. I'm talking about like $10 million deal, like $100 million deals, like like the freaking Glasswing, the people, the biggest banks. Those are people that are going to have the best access to the models,
Right.
and they're just going to be able to out accelerate because they have best in class models that are like a year ahead of what everyone has. And then there's going to be like class B, class C, class D. And it's just going to be like a tier. It's literally going to be, this is the start of it. Because why would any other company that has frontier models release it to the public so they can get shut down again? They're just going to literally just keep it inside for like 6 months to 8 months. And when it's getting a bit stale, they'll release it to like a cohort of like the top tier companies. And they're going to wait for like a year, 2 years before they actually like dissipate some whack model to the public, because like there's no good reason for any company to like release frontier level intelligence anymore. Like why would you do that? Even if you're open AI, like why would you do that now?
Yeah, it's a really good point.
So we previously we talked about the techno. It was a similar dystopia. I think this is like a caste dystopia, right? Where you have class systems dependent on their access to intelligence. I think this is maybe what was that movie? Matt Damon with like the space station.
Elysium.
Elysium. Yeah.
That's where we're headed currently in our trajectory.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's. I mean, that's definitely a possibility, right? You know, like we said multiple times, nobody knows what's coming. Nobody knows what's coming. We're taking educated guesses. We think this is more likely, less likely, and I definitely think that is likely. I think one, and this is y'all are going to agree with, especially Max, is like, and we've talked about it before, is we're approaching. I think we're in it, the beginning of own your intelligence, because so. Have you heard about, well, I sent you guys a link about ZLM 5.2. So this is a Chinese model, I think. So then there's going to be some data security issues you're going to want to concerned about, but we'll leave those aside. But this is an open source model that rivals Opus 4.8. And most people in their lives probably Sonnet 4.6 is good enough. In the sense of like what. You know, they're not going to be coding programs or something, or even if they are, Sonnet can do that. It might just take longer or whatever. But the point is like this, we're at a level right now where at least to our current standards, we can build a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 computer system and then host ZLM 5.2 for free on our own.
I agree. Yeah.
And I was telling my wife about this, and she grew up on a sheep farm, so she's not really like very tech enthusiastic the way that I am. But she's coming around a little bit. But, you know, I was telling her this, like, you know, we're going to have an AI that lives in the closet somewhere, lives in a closet somewhere, and just like all of our data will go in and out of it. We talked about this before, you know. I think you and I talked about it, Michael, but yeah, like your data going in and out of it, totally more secure than it is now, and running your local AI.
I mean, I definitely do agree. And I think, you know, like most people that can afford it are going to, as much as possible, guys, try to go local as possible. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm still listening.
Okay, gotcha. Most people that can afford it are going to try to go as local as possible, for sure. The main thing is just then it becomes, how long does China keep on releasing frontier open models? It's like, you know, it's one of those things whereby it's like, okay, China's doing it and China's been doing it since like 24, 23. But it's like, will they do it in 27? Will they do it in 28? Will they do it in 29? Who knows? Nobody knows. But like, we're talking about a long ass time in the future. Like, because like frontier labs are always going to be a thing. Like intelligence is always going to be like an ever scaling thing. So in the next 2 years, sure, we can count on China. But can we count on China for the next 5 years?
Right.
Like, and also intelligence is not a thing. Like nobody wants to use like the 2-year-old model for like that OpenAI brought out 2 years ago, the models that Anthropic brought out 2 years ago. So what if China just like stops releasing their like frontier and starts giving us like their 1-year-old frontier, their two, like they have every incentive to release their frontier right now because like they are at the frontier of open source, right? But what incentive will they have in 2 years, you know, when like possibly all the US labs are like releasing 2-year-old models and like Chinese labs are like, oh, what? We don't even need to do too much. We don't need, we can just release 1-year-old frontier, 2-year-old frontier as open source. Then what do we do then?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the context, right? I think we're all learning in this age is like how important context is. We've always known it, but we never verbalized it. Now, when we realize we have to manage context for an agent that's an artificial agent, now we're talking about context. And I think it depends the context. What's the world like in 2 years? Because I'm becoming more open to the possibility that AI, as we have it right now, is not a total catastrophe to the job market. Capitalists say any new technology, yes, some individual industries, companies will be hurt, but overall, for the kind of like the whole economy, whatever, it's a net positive. I'm starting to think that is a realistic possibility. And so it depends the context, because what I think about, if you say, would I want the model 2 years ago? No, because it was dumb. But 2 years in the future, if I look back and say, would you want Opus 4.8? And if I'm not living in some super dystopia where I've got to scrap around and put together, junkyard robots to defend myself or something, if it's more or less kind of like this, yeah, maybe that could be okay.
Hey, can you guys see this image I got up there?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the theoretical AI job impact from Anthropic. That's their latest release of what's happening now. Right, and so you can see where you are in that scale. Like, for example, I've been working in this area here, in the legal area, right? Because it's accelerating in that area, and it's extremely powerful in that area. Whereas it's not really got into agriculture yet. Right, that's a robotics thing, right? Whereas look at admin in office, boom, management jobs are really in serious fucking issue.
For right now, I'll play the advocate for a conservative capitalist. It's all going to be net positive in the end, right? Like an economic point of view, in the sense that maybe these jobs don't need to exist anyway. Maybe the management.
This management?
Jobs, yeah, exactly. I mean, not everything. Office admin, maybe some, but is really somebody sitting on the computer typing all day? Is that really the best way for that person to spend their time?
That's right. And it's not just about that. It's that if you look at some of the graphs of the growth in administrative positions, it has outstripped the growth in just about all industries. We've got this huge management bloat.
Time period. What's the time scale?
Well, time scale? In the last 20 years. In the last 20 years.
Right. And so now potentially...
Governments, healthcare, education, they're all multiple times growth, double-digit growth in administration costs, administration people. So it's they're bloat and they're ripe for the picking. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's going to be a short-term pain for individuals, companies, probably for the economy. But is it realistic that over time, which maybe is, I don't know, not that long. I mean, geologically, it'll be a blink of an eye. But is that going to be good long-term for the economy, for that kind of like the lean machine of the economy, right? So as a business owner, I don't want bloat. So if I can really legitimately get rid of an administrative position and put that money back on my bottom line, okay. I'm okay with that. Or if I don't put it back on my bottom line, then maybe I put it to something else. Maybe I can open up another market, or I can hire a person for a different position. Maybe I can hire another salesperson. Which is, I think that's going to be one of the things that's going to, I don't think we'll see sales. And if I'm getting too off topic, you want to come back to it, just pull me in, reel me in. But I don't think we'll see sales. I don't think we'll see voice sales agents anytime soon.
I agree.
Definitely not the best in the field, right? Yeah.
No, because I think
it'll be agents, sales agents, real people leveraging them to pull leads towards them, and when they'll close the deals, right? I think that might be an application.
Yeah, and then the question is Well, how do you do that? How do you leverage the agents to pull leads to me? That's a great question. We were talking about questions earlier. That's a great question. I legitimately want to know the answer to that. I built we've been talking about agents a couple times. If you guys remember, I'm a bit skeptical, or I actually kind of feel like I'm a dumbass and I'm missing something. But like I've used an agent to build like a lead system, so that was pretty cool. I was able to deploy a tech and onboard a client into it. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a really cool milestone right there. Yeah,
that is pretty cool. But in terms of like lead, like how can we? That's a good question. How can we do that?
Okay, well, let me show you something really cool off topic. Think about that. Here's a really cool thing. I'm going to share this here with you guys. This is something that no one has noticed. This is a really big thing, but it's only noticed by people who, one, they use the terminal. Okay, if you don't use the terminal, you may not get this. You've got to use the terminal for a long time, and you've seen all the graphics in the terminal. You know what I'm talking about? Terminal graphics. They're shit. They're terrible, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, something happened, and no one's talking about it. Anthropic just blew the doors off terminal graphic art.
Okay.
Blew the frickin' doors off it. And here's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to share this and get my terminal up here if I can. Bye-bye. CD. Oh, I don't care anywhere. Let's go Claude. God. All right. So this, right, there's Claude's little graphic. Now, watch this. You see how that's shining a little bit?
Yeah.
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Oh,
That's
wow.
I don't know how the fuck they're doing that. But wait, watch this. This is where they just broke the whole fucking model, whole industry, the entire fucking 70 years of graphics in the terminal. Ready?
Let's do it. Oh, wow.
That's cool.
How the fuck are they doing that? I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyone who's in the terminal is thinking, holy shit, what happened there?
Yeah, I didn't know colors could come out like that. I thought it was like
know.
that or something.
So Anthropic just blew the doors off graphic art for the terminal. Like, just wow.
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That is crazy. Couple other things. You guys will stick around a little bit longer?
I only have like
yeah, sure, yeah.
5 more minutes though. I have like 2 to 5 minutes.
Okay. So I want to bring it back to the Fable banning. But before that, so, we're seeing that the intelligence get exponentially better. Question is, when does it reach a point that we human beings can't notice a difference in the increase in intelligence?
Good question. Yeah.
I'd say something like might sound crazy, but I think we've reached that point I think we've reached saturation for most of society, and I was going to say for myself, we reached that point for me like last year. I'd say like the only reason why I like Fable more is because like it does some stuff, but I don't know how intelligent. I can't tell you how intelligent a Fable is.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, I'm not at the frontier. Like these models are way smarter than me. I can't tell you, Fable's like this much intelligence is doing this. Like some people in like some parts of math are like, oh yeah, the 4.8 was doing this, and now Fable's doing. The only reason why I like Fable more is because I am like pretty dumb, and I'm like, oh my god, it feels like it's good. It feels like it's good. It feels like statutory. But I can't tell you exactly like, oh, this is what Fable does better than 4.8 for me. I'm just stupid human. I want to use the best model possible, and I don't know why. But I'd say for me, I can't actually tell the difference. And I'd say for most people in the world, we probably reach that point in like 25 or like early 26.
Yeah, I felt that in 25 as well, right? I felt that at 25. And then recently in 26, I felt it in a different way. Worked with the legal program. Each model can dive deeper and deeper into the case and figure out more and more things, okay? And add to the complexity of the case. So what happens is it now gives me decisions to, hey, do you want to do this or do you want to do this? And I have no fucking clue what it's talking about. right? And I have to spend a day researching what it's saying to see if this is accurate. So it's way beyond my intelligence, right?
Right. There's a limit to that, Max. It's going to get to the point where you're going to have to make a jump and say, like, I vetted the intelligence, I trusted enough. You put up some guardrails, some verification checks, but at some point, just because you're a human being living in time, you won't be able to verify it. You won't be able to put your eyes on all of it, or go through the process to make a conclusion if it's true or false or somewhere in between.
Yeah, so right now I get it to do a task that takes maybe 15 minutes, okay, running a really complicated task. And that takes me about 4 to 6 hours to vet that task
Right.
and say okay to it.
You must have plans to build a system to verify it, or maybe do 80% of the verification.
Well, I've got all these hallucination check pipelines. So I've got a large fat pipeline that I go through, and it's all these hallucination checks. But it doesn't resolve the fact that in my brain, I don't know what this thing is doing, because it's writing legal things for me as a lawyer would, but I have no clue what it's doing.
Right. So now it kind of brings the question, do you pay a lawyer to tell you what it wrote?
I guess that's what you have to do, right? Yeah.
So you're making jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so back to banning Fable 5, and this is the last thing I want to talk about, so I said one possibility that I read about. What else? Is it a bad thing? Is it a restriction on freedom, or is it an attempt to protect? And then, blurring the line between that, because we've talked about how vulnerable the world runs on code, and how vulnerable it is in general across the globe. Is that correct assessment, Max?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's an issue, but I think it's really, this whole banning thing is just a joke, right? It was like it's insignificant compared to the whole AI movement, right? But it's significant only in the fact that it will go down in history as the first time when the topic of autonomous weapons comes up, right? When Skynet destroys the world in 2150 or something, this will be the first time we'll say, yeah, Anthropic, they said it right there. They said you cannot have autonomous drone weaponry. There must be a human in the middle. So that will be a point in history that has now been broadcast around the world, and it's now, part of history.
Okay, so that's a different move about Anthropic.
Different, yeah.
Right? But it begs the question or maybe you're alluding to it, that was the U.S. government's move to ban Fable 5 a retaliation for Anthropic refusing to bend the knee?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be. I'm assuming that's what it was, right? But and that's also been recorded in history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't know. There's no. I don't have any definition, so I'll just have to conjure up something. I wouldn't do that. But what I would like to say is, concerning like the first part of the question, which was more like, how would we look back on history, like, like at this moment where like, like this thing was getting banned? It's like, I just think the ripple effect of this would just be, for example, remember that like Mythos has been in Anthropic's labs and they've been using it since about January, February, right? So they waited about 5 to 6 months, and then they said, oh, we're going to release Fable 5 to you. And Fable 5 was even still too powerful for like the US government to just allow it to freely go. So it's like, they probably have Mythos 2 right now, because it takes 3 to like 4 months to actually train another, like the very next variation of the model. So like for Anthropic to have felt comfortable releasing like Fable 1, Fable 5, Mythos 1, they probably have Mythos 2 ready. Like that's probably going through reinforcement learning and just like making sure that it doesn't go too crazy. So literally, we're just extending the time horizon that we, the normal people, have access to like this intelligent model. So like the next variation of like Mythos will probably stay in the labs for a year instead of 6 months. And that's what we'll be missing out on. And guess the people that are going to have it. Because guess who didn't get banned from Mythos? The Project Glasswing people. Like the people that got access to Mythos, like, you remember 2 to 3 months ago when we were talking about like, they gave it to a small group of people to like actually, those people didn't get banned from it. Like they still have access to it even till today. It's
they're still working on it.
But that's a good thing, right? Like the Glasswing is we framed Glasswing as like like the kind of like a good movement to red team the internet to make things safe. It was a noble pursuit, right?
Yes.
So I'm
Yeah,
glad
so
that they
one of the
I'm glad they didn't get banned from it.
Well,
And one of the problems is too is that, like you're saying, who gets access to it? In that Project Glasswing, there are no independent hackers. There's no independent people, no independent people, right? It's just these companies.
it's the biggest companies in the world.
Big on the world. So it should be people that are not involved in companies should also have access to also red team in their red team manners. That's just a smart thing to do.
Right.
Yeah, and they are using it for like, cybersecurity protection too, but they also can use it for other things too. It's not just like, it's not a one tool model. It's like they can also use it to improve their products, right?
Yeah.
And if this set group of companies have access to the best coding tools and the best engineers in the world, it's like, it just creates this everlasting loop of, okay, they have the best tools. Like, for example, if you're competing with one of these companies, and you don't have access to this model, and let's say Fable gets canceled forever, like think of your competitive disadvantage. Let's say you're a software company or you're a bank that's trying to compete with like one of these people, and they have access to Mythos level capability, and you have to stick with like 1-year-old Chinese open source models. It's like, from a competitive standpoint, how do you compete with like a company that's just being given the frontier and like all the compute that they need, and you having to like figure out how to pull your stuff on site? It's just anti-competitive. That's the point.
No, that's a great point, and that's a great point. I mean, it's a great point, and I think it's the same pattern that's gone on probably since the beginning of capitalism. Is that there
Technology, the latest technology,
technology and just access to resources. Like people, if I had $5 million more than I do right now, I could sure do a better job educating my kids.
True.
And whatever way I saw fit. And it's the same thing across. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I think life is inherently unfair.
True.
And I think it's dangerous when people try to make it fair. Institutionalized fairness is a bad idea.
Yeah. But true, I do agree with everything you're saying. I'm just saying this is on steroids now, because this is the first time we've had intelligence.
100%.
Like, this is intelligence. This is not, a gun. This is not like electricity. It's like that is always, this is intelligence. Intelligence scales in a way that nothing else scales. Like the fact Albert Einstein is probably only like a few points more intelligence than all of us, but he, with his knowledge, was able to create atomic bombs. Like we couldn't do that. He's not that much intelligence at all. He's not that much like, we're intelligent.
I agree with you.
It's only a couple of points. So like a couple points of intelligence scales in like exponentials, that in a way that like nothing else has scaled. I'm just saying like this is like the beginning of something that could be very scary. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it's a valid point.
I've been thinking this way for 10 years, so I totally agree with what you guys are saying. Like this is just. Yeah. So
the question is home system then, Max. So do you have a home system, Max? Do you have a recommendation for home? I was looking at like what I could buy a used GPU. You can like buy a used GPU to run like a decent Ollama or maybe like QWEN. Yeah. So do you have any? The truth is it's just still depressing. Edge compute is still depressing, right? The kind of the kind of throughput you're going to get is low. Like it's 10% of what you get on cloud compute, unless you're going to spend a whole lot of money and stack together a bunch of GPUs, and you got some friend who works for NVIDIA, right? Like, and then you got the power, and then you're going to pay for the power bill too.
That's right, and so it's
the power bill, the networking, the cooling, the infrastructure, the freaking like firewall.
You're going to need an energy system. We're going to need a mobile nuclear reactor, guys.
Like you actually need like a new a data center in your house or something, dude. Like that.
And so this energy thing goes back to a really important point. Wait, there's at some point like they're going to be able to monitor who is training the latest AI by its heat source.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
Like it's its heat source and its energy source in the grid determines who's training the latest model.
Rogue AI agent for training going in sector 4. That's true.
Right, so Anywhere there's a big fucking amount of energy using, you got to be accountable for that energy usage. Oh, it's a steel mill, great.
So we're on this exponential curve for intelligence, but then we apply that intelligence to cold fusion. How long is it going to take us to crack cold fusion? You know what I mean?
Well, how long is it going to take the biggest labs to crack cold fusion, and
That's a good thing. That's a good thing because that technology won't be able to stay in bed. There's no way. There's no way. And then once we have cold fusion, it's like, or even like you could even say like some of the 4th gen fission reactors, like we should be doing nuclear in a whole different way. Like we could be energy abundant if we put our minds to it.
Yeah, I think that we took the existing systems we have and we just gave them what we're working on now, and we say AI, apply what we're doing now, make it better.
Optimize 10%.
That's right, 10%, right? It could do that probably.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm actually not optimistic about like fusion and like new sources of energy. I think like it's going to be predominantly just solar. Like I think it's not even going to be like either or, but I could be wrong. I think like solar is just going to take over the planet in a way that is like other sources of energy is just going to be like a joke. Because like I feel like with solar power and like battery power, it just makes so much more sense than even like figuring out fusion. I just think like that's the path we're headed, but I might be wrong. But I just think it's going to be like solar.
Right, I might be wrong too, but I hope it's not solar, because solar, like if you were to take solar and the energy density that we need as a human species and then spread it across the area needed to cover, I think we'd be living in a world full of solar panels and not much else. I think it'd be everywhere. I think it'd be ugly.
Like a long,
unless we do them in but I don't doubt like what you're saying, Michael, is that like the sun is this abundant source of energy right there. How do we use it in the way that we don't need to crack cold fusion?
Right. So you're going to say about
legitimate question, but like
you're going to say about putting data servers in space, Elon Musk's venture, right? So that energy source will be much more intense in space,
Right, and you could even build solar collectors in space and and transmit the energy down.
Well, no, you could do the compute in space. You do the compute in space. You're only sending it down latency through the through 400 kilometers.
Yeah.
All right, boys, gotta go. So.
All right,
Michael.
Take it easy, man.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna head out.
So what are you up to the rest of the day?
I got some paperwork to do. That's about it. Yeah. It's Friday. Go get some groceries, maybe make a pizza for supper or something.
Nice. Yeah, we're doing a play. Jasper and Jasmine are both in a play, and for some reason, I volunteered to do help backstage, and so I'm doing.
Oh, good. Right on.
Yeah.
Good.
But the Miko project's pretty cool, dude.
I'm so excited about it. Just working on her personality is
the whole project. What? Does the whole project have a name?
Yeah, it's just Mobile Lab.
Mobile Lab.
Yeah, Mobile Lab. Yeah, but yeah, it's cool. Just working on that personality is so much fun, right? And so next week I'll have the basic leanest demo for her working. I tried today, but I couldn't get it to run properly, so it'll be ready next week.
And what do you build it? So it's all on Grok Voice? And it's
on Python. It's on Python. It's a Python program, and we can type. I can type in and ask her a question as a chat bot.
And she outputs in as
and she
voice?
just runs on the Python program. Nope, she outputs chat. She chats back.
Okay, so it's chat interface.
It's just a chat in the terminal, basic Python program, no bells, no whistles, bare minimum viable product.
And it's connected to Grok, like the brain of her Grok?
No, it's completely Python. There's no connection to any, zero interference.
So then what are you chatting to her about?
I'm chatting to her about questions. She's going to ask about, hey, your project and whatever. So
you have databases in the background to kind of like...
barely.
Because it's input, right? Like it's an input source, right? Yeah. And so like she's talking to a user, so you got to categorize you're getting data and you categorize it.
Yeah, that's right. But it's not even that.
Locally. That's local.
There's no database on this one. It's no database. So I will do a demo. It will look really fucking awesome. But then you and Michael can ask her questions and she will fail. Okay, we'll watch this next week. Okay.
Well, if it's deterministic code, then she's only going to be able to say what you programmed her to say.
That's right. And she's very limited lines in her code. She's got no database. She's got no memory,
Right.
nothing.
You got no lookup.
No lookup, nothing. This is the bare core kernel of her is what I'm building right now.
Okay. Okay. What else can you say about like the motivation for choices you've made? Like what do you have a guiding principle, or like what are you trying to accomplish? Like why not just use what's already written by somebody else?
Oh, right. Because I wanted to be as lean as possible. So I'm starting with building the code myself, right? I'm using all these AIs to build me the code, the deterministic deterministic code, right?
Okay.
Right. Because that way I could build her lean, stack one software at a time. I'm building her as lean as possible. I don't want any bloat, right? So I keep it as lean as possible. The whole build.
That's cool, dude. That's really cool. From the ground up.
From the ground up. So I'm actually using AI to build me my software that I'm not able to hand code myself. But I'm going to get her to walk through every single little detail that I want. Right?
That's cool. That's cool.
It'll take about, I don't know, 6 months, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, buddy.
Yeah. Anything else? Nope. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, meeting adjourned. I got to get to work. Man, like it's crazy with the business. It's like, everything's good. And then there's some kind of blow up and I realize, my systems are good, but there's still room for improvement. And then so it's another round of like, okay, let's systematize.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We should talk about all the variations now in recursive self-learning. Like we need to talk about that soon because it's here, right? But we need to talk about the applications of it, all the different forms, how it works, and all that stuff.
Are you currently applying it?
Technically, no, but it's happening inside of the models I'm using, right? Our model, I can feel it in the software. Yeah. It's learning from what I'm doing without me telling it things. So I can sense it in the software, in the models, but I'm not doing it in any way.
That's an agent use. That could be a use for an agent. So like I was working on self-improvement skills for a while and then I just stopped doing it because, reason I did something else. But there was always like a friction point because it's just about running a process over your skills, right? In Claude Code so that they get better, or even it could be your knowledge base, whatever. But it's just like that optimization stage. But it was there's always a point of friction. Like I'm not going to remember. No, I'm not going to. Like I don't log my context very well when I'm in a session, right? Like the good principled session, you sit down for a bit with the AI, you work on something specific, and then when you're done, you decide I'm done now, and you log it, and you log the context, and you clear it, and you're done. Like I don't do that very well. And the same is true for like a skill. When you're trying to improve a skill, like you get like especially like a writing skill or maybe probably even a coding skill. You get when you feed back, oh, this is not right, this could have been better. That's learning material. But I've not figured out how to like turn that into something that happens without me doing it. Because it's like whenever there's a human, myself included, involved in the system, that's where it's going to break.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's crazy, huh?
So that's a good topic to talk about, I think, for the show or bring. Yeah. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Take well.
See you next week.
Well. Take care. Yeah.